We're going to talk about our messes. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, Chris.
I
Our
am so messed up this
failures.
week. I am
That
so
is
messed up.
good. But Chris, this is so good. I'm messed up too, actually. But the only way to discover the true potential of a system is to put it under pressure and watch what breaks. That's how you get stronger. You don't get stronger by sitting on the couch.
Oh, yeah, that's an engineer talking. It makes perfect sense. I just don't think that way. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
You're,
So
you're 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 stress testing. Yes, I get it.
these failures are a good thing. They are to be celebrated. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. This is where we discuss current events, personal growth, and any other random topic that crosses our minds. Our goal is to have a meaningful discussion that help us to see the topics we discuss more clearly. Our hope is we can help you expand your self-awareness, develop your critical thinking, and learn to be less reactive to the world around you. And most importantly, remember, be curious. If you like what you hear, like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. We want to hear what you think. All right, Chris, guess what, Chris?
I think it's Friday.
Friday.
I think it's
That's Friday.
Podcast Friday.
Podcast Friday, and we are going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about our messes. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, Chris.
I
Our
am
failures.
so messed up this week. I am
That
so
is
messed up.
good, but Chris, this is so good. I'm messed up too, actually. But the only way to discover the true potential of a system is to put it under pressure and watch what breaks. That's how you get stronger. You don't get stronger by sitting on the couch.
Oh, yeah, that's an engineer talking. It makes perfect sense. I just don't think that way. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
You're,
So this,
you're stress testing. Yes, I get it.
these failures are a good thing. They are to be celebrated.
Well,
Not to
yeah.
be ashamed of.
Okay, I will keep that in. I'll do my best to keep that in mind. Yes.
There we go. Because that's how you get stronger. That's how you get better and faster and more efficient.
Yes. Yes. I was expecting you earlier today to make jujitsu. You didn't make any jujitsu references this morning. I was shocked.
Yeah, I don't know what was wrong with me. I was kind of nice today. I don't know what came over
Well,
me.
you started before the meeting talking about how we suck, and as a
Oh,
group,
okay.
we need to do better because we need to be the best, and we're only A students. We're not number one, right? Is kind of the way you said it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call it A. Maybe I don't know, maybe B plus, A minus. We're not A students. Sorry. When the last several meetings have run when we have to like get people plugged in dynamically, that's not how A students run.
I don't know. What's the quality of an A student today?
Well, let's compare it to a SEAL team, right? A SEAL team, they don't plug in at the last
A SEAL
minute.
team doesn't qualify as A, B, or C. They're like gradations of A plus.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I think you need a different scale to measure, I guess, against.
But they don't come in and say, "Hey, where's Bob? We're going on a mission." Oh, I don't know. He decided he was too tired to show up. Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
anybody else? Can anybody fill in for Bob?
Yeah, but again, do you really expect us to be the SEAL team of Toastmasters? Is that what we're going after?
Yes, 100%.
Then you got to put the plan together, and you got to lead.
I know. Let's talk about leadership. Leadership is a big deal, actually. Yes, I've got to lead it. I've got to lead it. And I've got to build a really solid case for why. And I'll tell you why I want it. Because if our club elevates, I elevate.
Yes. Mm-hmm. What is it? What's the saying? You're the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with.
Pretty much.
So if the Toastmasters group includes people you spend time with, then you want them to be better than you.
Yes.
So you get better. At the end of the, you don't want to be the best. I heard a YouTube quote this week. If you're the smartest person in the room, leave.
Yeah. No,
you don't want to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I need to think for you, Chris, if I am the smartest person in the room, that's my rightful spot, I would hope that you would not tolerate that. You're going to rectify that as quickly as possible.
Well, I was thinking earlier today as I was interacting with Grok, I think it was one of the AIs today, and it always tells me I'm right. So obviously I'm the smarter one here, and you're the
Yeah.
one who must be wrong because
Yeah.
AI says I'm right.
Yeah. There you go. You just don't have the right prompt, Chris,
It,
actually.
it just keeps telling me like, that's insightful. Oh, you're really thinking this through. Oh my goodness, you're doing such a great job.
You know what that does is it makes you weak. It makes you weak until you come up with a real world when somebody's not telling you how great you are every 5 minutes, and that you should get an award just because you showed up.
Yeah, but I should, right? Actually,
Well,
one of the things when I was the VP of Education back for Toastmasters several years ago, I wanted to gamify the whole damn thing. I wanted
that's a
to
great
say,
idea.
yeah, I was thinking, let's do gold stars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
stupid thing to have a chart with gold stars on it, but I was like, here's your gold star chart. Oh, who gets a
It
gold star today? I think
works
it'd be
like
really cool.
crazy.
Because one of the things
Except,
that happened when Toastmasters went online with all their classes and stuff, they lost the lower level certifications, the CCs and all those kinds of things.
yeah,
And
yeah,
those were like stepping stones people could aim for to get to the top level certification.
yeah,
And they don't really have a good gamification anymore.
yeah. They don't. They don't. And tell you another thing that really bugs me about. Well, I don't care about Toastmasters because I can't change Toastmasters. I actually have a stab to change Challenger 734. Is nobody's hunting for a DTM? I don't know why.
It's on the back burner on my list, but yeah, I mentioned it. There's no one else I've talked to wants the DTM.
Yeah,
So I've completed 2 pathways, which is one of the things you need to do.
yeah,
You need to coach a club, start a club. You need to be a district officer, which I have been, so
yeah,
that's covered. And then you need your DTM Distinguished Toastmaster project.
yeah. Oh, you have to start a club?
Think you have to mentor. I think you have to start a club. There's a couple of things. One of them's about coaching, and one of them's about I think starting. But starting doesn't mean you yourself have to start it. You're the one. You're their mentor when they start. So
Oh, I
if
got you.
there's a
Okay.
one that's starting, you'll be one of the people to help them along.
I gotta get that because I need to be reviewing that list because I need my DTM. Like that's like kind of showing up for jujitsu and not
Yeah,
wanting to
I
get you
think
a
you've got
black
like
belt.
you've got the pathways and you've got the district thing, right? You've got those covered.
Yeah, I got the two. I just finished my level 2 pathway.
Okay, so you need
Um,
to you wait. You finished
I've
your
done the
sec.
district.
So you need to
No,
finish 2 pathways. You need to
yeah, yeah,
complete
but I
level 5.
in my second pathway I'm working on. I finished level 2 just with my
Okay,
last piece.
I'm on
So I
my
got
I'm on my third and fourth pathway right now.
okay, okay,
So
okay.
there are people who just get DTM over and over because that there's it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, Clement's
Right?
got it like he's got 4 or 5 of them stacked up, right, or something.
Does he? I don't know. I've never
I
talked
think
to him
he
about
just
that.
keeps working on it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
I don't know.
Too bad it's not like second degree, third degree, fourth degree, like
I know
black
that's
belt.
how it should be because when you get a black belt in jujitsu, that's great. But then typically most masters be like, okay, now we're just starting.
So now
You're just
you need proof of ability. You need to win district competitions or something like that, right? To get like
yeah,
third level DTM, you've got to win
yeah,
state or regionals or something. That would be an interesting. That'd be tough, but it'd be interesting to do.
yeah, yeah. I think I may want to start doing that. Maybe I don't know actually because if I'm truly want to be a great speaker, I mean, you got to put yourself. You got to put yourself up against some people better than you, just like you talked about.
Yeah, there we go. Now I
And
can look at
if you're the top dog in a club, then go to a bigger pond. Then maybe go to the ocean. Then it's different.
where you can drown. Yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah, you can drown. Yeah, you can drown. It won't hurt
uh,
long. It'll be over quickly.
yeah,
But yeah,
that's true.
absolutely. So
Mm.
okay. Anyways, what are we talking about today?
I wanted to talk about a book I'm listening to
Okay.
that I thought was interesting. It's going to go into diet and semi conspiracy theory kind of thing, but not too fringe.
Okay.
Um, going to talk about something I did yesterday when I was going down a rabbit hole of paradoxes, and I was searching
Okay.
on chat. And what else are we going to talk about? Oh, I talk about the fact that I hurt myself last week, and now I haven't been doing his 75 hard very hard.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Hard. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So last Saturday there was an event at my daughter's school. The band boosters were cleaning out one of the trailers. One of those big storage trailers that's like on the back of
Yeah.
the truck. And we went in there and we were cleaning it out, and we discovered two tubas that had been stored away years
Oh,
ago in the back. And so it was kind of cool to because tubas are several $1,000s each at least, and they were back there. But in stepping down from a high shelf coming down, I didn't realize how high I was, and so my knee bent further down. Than I
oh my
needed it
gosh.
to,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so it's the knee that I favor, and so it went to the full range of motion, which hurt like hell, and
Oh
so
man.
it's been healing all week, but and I don't think I did damage to it. It just hurts. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I've been letting that heal, and that made me a bit lazy when it came to the workouts. I've been to a couple of networking events this week that went late, and that screwed up my eating, the timing of my eating, which has screwed up my sleep, and all kinds of things like that. So it's been
Yeah.
a hell of a week where it's. I just kind of said I'm not going to try this week to
Okay.
hold to this. The one thing I am doing is I'm trying to keep a few of the habits, the water habit, the reading habit. I'm reading this book now.
Oh yeah. He's kind of famous. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of famous. Yeah, interesting lifestyle he had. But yeah, well, it fell. Um, yeah, so that's going on right now. So I'm kind of and the fact that I'm getting further along in this interview process of a
Yeah.
job, and so I've been kind of concentrating on making sure that I come across well in that as well. So I've been doing a little more research, getting myself spun up on enterprise level AI as opposed to
Hmm.
kind of the small client level stuff
Yeah.
that's saturated the market, and it's a little harder to find the true enterprise type of solutions to learn about, because usually what
Hmm.
happens is one of the big companies just incorporates AI into their existing systems, which is
Yeah.
fine. But then I'm asking questions on like, how does it integrate? How does it protect data? Where are the weaknesses? Where are the risks? And those are things that take a little bit more research to do than just a random search.
Yeah. I was listening. It was interesting. I can't remember where I was listening to it. I think she was the CFO. Is that right? Of OpenAI, and she was talking about like even though they're seeing tremendous growth in their consumer side of things, where the real growth is coming in the enterprise API access stuff.
Well, that's where money is, and
Yeah.
that and the government. Those are the two things where I think you've got the most, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing, so I was talking to the company I'm interviewing at. I was talking to them about some of the stuff they're doing, and um, their focus isn't to replace people. Their focus is to do more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was my first thought, but I'm going after these small businesses. But I thought AI would take people's jobs away. It's like, no, that's not a good idea. What you want to do is you want to take away the menial work for them so that they can do the stuff that AI can't do, like better customer service, right? Relationships,
Just
things
like
like that.
so that whole art comment we said about it's dumbing people down, right? It's like
Yeah.
80% of the people are going to outsource their thinking, but 20% are going to augment their thinking.
Yeah. Right.
And so you want the people who stay in your company to be the ones who augment their thinking. So whatever
Yes.
AI tool you give them, they augment their ability to do their job. They don't
Yeah.
replace their ability. So if you're okay with the average being the quality of output that someone does for you, that's what AI will
Yeah.
do, is the average,
Yeah. Right.
right? But you get a smart person involved in that, they can take that average output and turn it into something better.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you some of the numbers that I've been looking at. I've been digging into the numbers quite a bit.
Hmm.
And so just on average, this is across pretty much every business. So, it's a very generalized average, but typically if you implement AI well in a company, that's going to free up about 30% of your people's times.
Okay.
So they have 30% more capacity. And it depends on which industry, of
Across the
course,
board, or are
right?
you thinking or enterprise level?
No, across the board, small companies, my target, anywhere from
Okay.
500,000 to let's say 2 to 3 million in revenue. So you free up about 30% of your people's time. And here's the cool part, Chris, is in addition to doing that, now what happens is you optimize processes. So you free time up, more profit falls to the bottom line because now you're not dropping the ball on things anymore. Like typically follow up, not following up with clients, not having a good, pretty much it's always follow up. And then what happens is because you've got that extra capacity, what's very common I'm seeing both the numbers and in actuality is that you'll typically see now a 10 to 20% bump in top line revenue coming in because now you just have more capacity.
Hmm.
Because many of the small businesses, they're not throttled by leads, they're throttled by capacity at the small level. And
Especially when you're wearing multiple hats and you're maintaining the discipline to keep things going at the right pace and all that sort of thing. That's a lot of administrative overhead that if you can burden tech to do it for you, makes a
yeah,
huge difference.
yeah. So it's not uncommon to see profit margins, given with the top line revenue increase and the increase in efficiency, you could see profits double, maybe even triple, with properly entering these systems in place. So that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, but I think one of the things is small businesses always suffered from efficiency because, like you said, the head of the company is focused on everything now, and you're basically not only making the processes more efficient, but you're taking away the need for them to even oversee the process in many cases.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. So I think there's a lot there. Another thing that I never would have expected, you got to get out, is there's a lot of not-for-profit companies that are really interested in doing this. And I always assumed that not-for-profits equal they have no budget to spend. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. No, in fact, it's the opposite. A lot of these companies I've been talking to is like, look, we got money we got to spend, right? And I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
And they have to spend it on certain things quite often because the person who gave them the money said specifically you need to spend it on this or that or the like.
Yeah, and almost invariably, and everybody that I talk to, increasing our operational efficiency would get a thumbs up from people giving us money because now what that means is now we can spend more on what our actual target is.
So, because if you can get to where 80% of the money coming into the not for profit is going out to actually give results. Or
Yes.
90%, those are numbers that carry a lot of weight with your donors.
Yeah, you want to get more money. That's how you get more. You be sure I use your money more wisely. At this point,
so I have this. This is a little backward. I belong to an app that gives microloans to people in other countries.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And the smallest amount you can give is $25. So I think I've put $500-600 in there over the years, and every time it gets paid back, I just relend it out.
Right.
And it loses money over time because some people default, some people don't pay.
Yeah.
And then I pay for the admin fee as well. So, but in my mind, I'm only willing to pay 10% of the cost of an admin fee. So I will pay 10% of the admin fee. You can crank it to zero or as much as you want.
Yeah,
I've got no reason to leave it at that, except I think that would be a good operation would be running at 10%.
Yeah.
It's just in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's right. You got to be just very efficient and stuff. And so this opened a whole new market as not for profit. I had no idea. I steered clear of those guys, but I'm like,
well, you think about it this way. So a lot of not for profit relies on volunteer work. Right.
Yeah.
But the quality of volunteer work varies drastically. And think of the overhead you have to do to manage the output of volunteer work.
Yeah.
If you can offshore or offshoot or switch to AI a lot of those tasks, you're going to get standardized quality out of it, which is going to free up more of your management staff to actually think about other things. You're getting the same benefits you just talked about for the small business. They're going to get at a in a different focus. That's impressive. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you can have the AI set the standards. You can still have volunteers come in to help, but now the AI can set the standards. The AI can monitor the output in many ways.
Yeah.
You can actually focus on the strategic type of thinking that you want your management team to do and not on the operational side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I've been thinking about writing a book on how to navigate for small businesses AI thing. And there's a lot of stuff I could write. But I think there's one skill that I think is got to be really important, and that is the fact that you've got to not think like a task person doing tasks. You've got to elevate your thinking to manager / CEO level, where you're now orchestrating the tasks, not executing the tasks, because AI can do so many of those simple little tasks for you. And I think that is how you make sure you stay relevant moving forward.
I think I agree with what you're saying. Can you?
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Can you re-articulate that though? Something in the way you said it didn't catch, but I think the idea did. But can you re-articulate it?
Yeah. So I said I think the problem of not being relevant is basically the one we talked about is like being able to think better, but being able to think not, hey boss, tell me what to do at the lowest level of leadership, but actually becoming a better leader where you're having to think about several tasks, how they relate together, and able to build like a system in place to orchestrate how those tasks should be done, and then assigning the right resources to those tasks instead of you just doing them. So much of the
Okay.
small little entrepreneur is like, oh, I'll just do it myself. It's just faster,
I know where I was getting hung up because you said not to be at the task level, to be at the bigger. So I'm going to re-articulate it. Let me know if I'm still on
Yeah.
the same wavelength. Don't get stuck with doing the task because you
Yeah,
still
sure.
need to understand the task
Of course.
to be
Yeah.
able to orchestrate up.
Yeah.
So
Right.
so at your don't get stuck doing the task at the task level. Think
Yeah.
about the task from an organizational level or from a
Yeah.
strategic
Right.
level or a process, something above the task level, right? So you're still
Yeah.
thinking about the task. You still have to know the tasks. You can't just assume that you're magically going to be able to do things.
Yeah.
But you're no longer concerned with how it gets done so much, but that it gets done, and you're
Yeah.
outsourcing the how it gets done to something else, someone else, a
Yes.
tool, whatever.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I agree with that entirely. I think the issue is it's so easy to get in the weeds of how things are done because it goes back to that. I got something done today.
Yeah.
It just may not be the best thing you could have gotten done today.
Yeah. And it feels
Right?
good because you crossed 7 things
Feels
off
good.
your list.
I sent
But
3 emails today, but they were emails that didn't need to go out today.
like
you
there
know?
are scheduling emails or just something that a
Yeah.
computer could do, right?
So I think
Yeah.
I think that's a good point to make. Is everyone's got to level up their thinking. And it's not as easy as just seeing the bigger picture. It's they still have to understand the weeds. They just don't have to
Yeah.
think in the weeds anymore.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And ultimately it comes down to leadership in my mind. It's like you got to move up from the bottom of the leadership ladder, which is, hey boss, totally tell me what to do. Hey boss, you got a problem. To it's like, maybe I start thinking about this. It's like, hey boss, we got this problem and this is what I did to fix it. I
How
just want
would
to
you
make sure it's
frame
okay.
that? How would you frame exactly what you're saying now for a solopreneur?
Um, so many of the cases, I can't remember the book, but it's a famous book, like 20 years old. The concept is work, on your business, not in your business. I mean, that
Mhm.
sort of idea. What's it
So,
called? The pie lady. I can't remember the book called. The famous book. Never mind. It'll come to me
by
later.
whom?
I can't remember his name right now. It'll come to me in a few minutes.
Okay. Because the reason why I said it that way is because you said, "Hey boss, hey boss, hey boss," and I'm
Yeah.
like, when you're the boss, because you're going to be talking to the boss more than likely in a small business,
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And so how are you framing the exact same idea but to the boss is what I'm thinking. It was what I was trying to get at.
Oh, yeah. This is the advance in leadership that I'd want to see if I was the boss. I'd be like, "Hey boss, we got this problem. And I clearly articulate what the problem is, and I think this is a solution to it, and I just need your okay to like implement this solution."
So is your audience for this guidance the guy who's going to talk to his boss?
It's the small business person, actually, anybody in the organization.
Okay,
But
because to me, when you're talking to the boss, the
yeah,
message is the same, but how you're delivering it's not going to be that way. You're not going to
could be
go
different actually,
right.
because what the boss wants to do is like, "Oh, never mind, I'll just do it. It's just easier and faster if I just do it, right? Instead of taking the
Yeah, I
time to
know what I
teach somebody.
want.
I know
So
what I
instead of me
want."
taking the time to show you what I want, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, and even though you're technically the leader of the company, that's not leadership.
Well, if it's a one-off, there might be a justification for it. But if
Yeah,
it's
it's okay if
something,
it's a
if it's
one-off.
an actual part of your business,
Yeah, right.
maybe you want to do it, learn it, figure it out, and then hand it off to someone else. I could see
Yep,
that as a valid thing to do instead of
yep.
just saying, you go figure it out, which is also, in my mind, if you got competent people, it's a valid thing to do as well.
Yes, 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 yeah. But there's more than just competent. I think it's more confidence than anything. Because I got to the point when I was running the studio that I would actually have people do the task, but they understood it. But not only did I have to write the processes, I trained them to write the process. I'm like, okay, you figure this out and you write the process. You show me what should be happening here.
You said confidence. Where are you talking about the confidence being?
The confidence comes in. Most of the people at a lower level don't have the confidence to do it, right?
Oh,
And they
okay,
did it.
okay. I
Yeah,
see what you're saying. Yeah, so I wasn't talking about what they need. I was talking
yeah,
about when you're the leader, if you're not going to be the one who goes out and figures it out and then trains the next guy,
yeah,
and you
right.
say no, you go do it. You got to
Yeah,
have trust in that person's capabilities, in the
you,
way they
you,
think, in their capabilities, and that And on the flip side, they have to have the confidence that they can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking about I was talking about what the boss sees in that person. So
Well,
I don't think it's wrong for you to say you go figure it out as the boss, but the person you're going to tell that to is probably someone that you have a level of trust in their competency and their ability.
well, you have to know what it is. So you don't give them tasks they can't do. You give them just a little tiny bit of a
Bad
stroke
bosses do
test.
all the time.
Well, that's a bad boss, right? That's not a
Yeah.
good leader,
And,
actually.
and so that's the distinction I'm making here. How does the boss make the decision and know when to do that? Is when they have confidence in the abilities of that person.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's a stepping thing, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit more than I think you can do. You're gonna have to grow and stretch a little bit. So now your capability comes up. So I don't give you up here. I just little baby steps, and we just work this thing up. And I'm like, go at our plan, come back.
Yeah,
Let's talk about the plan.
I think you're talking about implementation. I'm just talking about the overall viewpoint.
Yeah, we always struggle on this. Yeah, I'm
Right?
giving you the implementation
So
of how to do it.
yeah, I'm not saying how you assign it to. I'm just saying the belief that someone can do something is how you get to the point of trusting them to figure it out on their own.
Yes, right, exactly. And you have to have enough trust in them, and you have to give them enough rope, but you control it. It's like, look, you're allowed to screw up, but you're only allowed to screw up $200 max. That's all the mistake you're allowed to do,
Well, you might also know that this is beyond their capabilities, but you also know they're the kind of person that can handle this kind of thing. You go to
Yes.
them and say, "Hey, this is going to be hard for you to do. Tell me
Yeah.
if you need help." I mean,
Yeah, of
and the point being, you've shown trust in them by giving them something, but you've also acknowledged that you realize it's going to be hard for them to do.
Yes.
And that builds trust on their side. And you've also opened the door that if they need help, you're there.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
that will probably make them want to try harder not to need your help.
Yes, right. Because in an organization, the people underneath you have to feel safe. If they don't feel safe, then they're going to only do exactly what
They're going to wait till
told
you
to do.
tell them what to do.
Yes,
Exactly what to do, step by step.
Yes. Yeah, step by step. And I read some statistic, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard like in corporate America as a standard, it's like half the time that employees spend is some version of CYA, right, to protect themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure it's relevant to the organization, but yeah, sure.
I mean, maybe not that high, but still, even if it's less than that, even if it's 20%, I mean, that's still too much,
So one of the things that I always thought was interesting is there's this kind of dichotomy in values of how you manage people, right?
Yeah.
In a small team, you all know each other and you know each other's capabilities.
Yes,
And
right.
so you're able to say, okay, this needs to be done by this person, that needs to be done by that person, right? Regardless of skill set, regardless of everything else, you just know that person. You know the way they think. You have a relationship
Yeah.
with them, so you can leverage that to decide how work gets done in an organization.
Yeah, right.
And and the organization gets bigger and bigger and scales, and you get to 150, whatever the number is, and suddenly you need processes, you
Yeah.
need procedures, you need policies, because not everything's going to be going through the filter of a relationship with
Yeah.
a management person. So now
Right.
you have to have rules for people to follow when the management person's not there to tell you
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah,
And
right.
at that point, you start to lose individual capability because you're now
Yeah.
setting rules that don't let them use all their strengths.
Yeah.
So basically,
right.
I'm saying you are all entry-level salesmen,
Yeah.
so I'm going to treat you all the same. Here's a policy. When you
Yeah.
know they're not all the same, one guy might be better at some things than others, and
Yeah.
in the individual relationship role, I'm able to say, "Hey, you're good at this. You go take this on. Hey, you're good at that. You go take that on." But now I got too many people to do that with, so now I set a policy. All people at this level have to have these skills and do things this way.
Yeah,
And
right.
suddenly you lose some of the potential output
Yeah.
of these
Yeah.
people because you've put them all in the same bucket.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're now scalable. I can now bring in 100 people and make them all the same widget.
Yeah. Right.
And
right.
yeah, so you become a widget at a certain size,
Yeah.
and that's when you lose the true ability to adjust by each person's capability.
Yeah, and that's been the historical process. I'd say
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, that'd be best practices. But I'm telling you now, you got to have boundaries, but you got to let them work inside of this boundary. You got to give them a certain amount of authority to take care of stuff. Like if you're in customer service, you got to look, you can refund up to $100 on you don't need to check anybody. It's like
So
you
Scott,
have that
you're
power,
saying
right?
you gotta, and
Yeah.
the gotta's got me. You
Okay,
should.
sorry.
I agree that best practice would be to do that, and the best thing
Yeah.
for the organization in the long run. Now, the problem is that's hard work to do. There's a level of trust that
Oh,
people
yeah.
have to overcome. So because of that, I don't think that is the norm. So when you say you gotta, no, most of them don't gotta, and they don't.
You're absolutely right. You don't got to do anything actually, but if you want to be an extremely high level leader, these are qualities that high leaders have.
Yes. And this is and you can't just say I trust everyone because that
No,
would be
that's
dumb.
dumb. Yeah.
But then I can't micromanage everyone because that's
No,
dumb.
that's
So
dumb.
it's somewhere in between, which means you've got to put
Yeah.
in whatever level of effort is required to get to that in between.
Yes, right,
Right?
exactly. And you've got to be okay with having outcomes not be exactly how you wanted. And
That
so,
was the toughest part when I became a people manager.
yeah,
Was what's the thing? What got you here won't get you there, right?
right,
Is there the
exactly.
book, right? So you might be the best at process A, and that's why they
Yeah,
put you in charge of process A.
yeah,
But now
right,
you're managing other people who do process A. Your job is no longer to do process A.
right,
It's to
exactly.
manage the people that do process
Yeah,
A. So
exactly.
suddenly, you go, I know how to do that better than the people beneath me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
of
that's not your
course.
job anymore.
It's your job is to train them. Your job is to get them up to your level is what your job is.
And some may never get to your level.
Right?
They're
Some
good
may not.
enough, but they're not at what you were doing it at. You
Yeah,
might be the best person in the world, and no one will ever be as good as you in doing process A.
that's right.
But
That's
that's
right.
okay because that's not your job anymore.
That's not
That's a
your job.
tough thing, especially if your identity is in your work.
Oh, that's a tough thing. I mean, I experienced that. I mean, we built this company, HearLink, that did like hearing aid stuff, and my processes were so tight. Like literally, I would come in, and they would basically tell me go away, because basically at this point you're just slowing down, you're just mucking up the machine. And I'm like, man, that took a huge like ego hit and a thing. And it's like, but I'm like, you're right. I just need to stay out of it. I just need to stay away.
Oh, the processes your team was following were so tight that they didn't that you actually made the process less efficient.
Yeah. 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 And they would tell it to me. And I'm like, damn, that's a tough one, but you're right. You're right. Okay, let me go away. And now all of a sudden, just like you were talking about, when you spark the thing now, it gets to my identity. It got to my identity because I wasn't needed anymore. And that's hard, but ultimately that's your role as a CEO or leader is you're supposed to make yourself not needed anymore.
Yeah, you're supposed to get rid of your own job. That is
Yeah.
actually, if you do your job well,
Yeah.
they don't need you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then what happens is they go, oh, you did that so well. I want you to go do this now. I want
Yes,
you to go
right.
do that now.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And over time, you make things better. Whatever
Yes.
better means, you make
Yes.
things better.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a hard thing to take, man. It's like that's ego, it's feelings, there's all sorts of stuff that you've got to try to get rid. You've got to make. I'm babbling at this point. Let me go to a martial arts example. So typically, if you see some start to get higher level, right? Maybe you start to get like second or third degree black belt. Your ability to defend yourself is no more. I mean, there's no difference. If you can't defend yourself at second degree black belt, at sixth degree black belt, there's no difference in your ability to defend, right? It doesn't really matter. So, but now you're not judged on that anymore. Now you're judged on, I don't care what you can do anymore, right? Now I want to see what can your students do. That's how you're judged. So it's a different level of judging.
Yes, you can't. So one of those old sayings that actually is wrong to me. Well, it's right and wrong, as with everything. Those who can do, those who can't teach,
Yeah, yeah,
is kind of true, but also
yeah.
totally wrong.
Totally wrong. Yes,
You
exactly.
don't. If you can't teach a topic, you don't know the topic.
Yeah, right.
That's
exactly.
one viewpoint, right? But those who
Yeah.
can do and those who can't teach is the exact opposite of that. And I think
Yeah.
I think there's opposing priorities or values in those structures,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The idea is saying that teaching a topic is easier than doing a topic, and that
not,
might be
not necessarily.
but-
you know.
that might be true in execution, but that's not
Yeah.
true in teaching. Are you teaching a person to do something, or are you teaching them a way that they come away from it having developed the ability to do something?
Yeah,
It's almost
right.
a nuanced aspect to it. It's like, I'm not teaching you how to do this. I'm teaching you what these kind of baseline understanding to be able to do something else.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not even being clear on this. But to me, there's just competing priorities in what you're saying there. And yeah, I think if you haven't mastered something, there's no way you can teach it to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Correct.
And the idea is, if you can't explain something in 1 minute, that if it takes you 10 minutes to explain something, you don't know it,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Very
You-
much.
and-
Unless
and-
it's a really
but-
complicated topic, but yeah.
Well,
right.
but even then, there's this idea that you need to be able to explain it at different levels, and then
Yeah,
you know it.
correct.
If I can
Yeah.
only explain it at the microscopic, detailed level, I don't
Yeah.
know it.
You don't know it.
I
Right,
need to
right.
be able to explain it to the fifth grader and to the SME at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's right.
That
I love those YouTube videos. I don't know if you've seen them or not, where they'll have one expert come in and they'll explain it to like the
quantum
kindergarten.
mechanics for a kindergartner, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they explain it. And I'm like, that is so good. And then
And you listen to it, and it's like, okay, I had 15 when you said you were going to explain that to a kindergartner. I had 15 things going through my head, and you just said one thing. I'm like, yeah, I guess that's good enough for the fifth grader or the kindergartner to get.
that's good
That's
enough.
enough for them at that point. That the next time you have a conversation, you can build on that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, because they can't understand. Like if I can take a jiu-jitsu example, when I was a white belt, it's like I want to learn all this cool black belt stuff. And my master's like, no, 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 no. You're asking me to teach you calculus, and you can't even add 1 + 1. It's like, no, you learn 1 + 1 = 2 first, and then I'll give you the next problem. That's calculus, dude. That's years away from you right now. You just don't see it.
But what if we think of it this way? If you were to explain what is jujitsu
Yeah, right.
to a kindergartner, how would
Yeah.
you explain it?
Gosh, I explain everything the same way to everybody, so I'm probably not good at this. I would say jujitsu is like a set of techniques, right, that keep you from getting hurt and keep you from hurting the other person.
Okay. It's a fighting style? It's a what?
Yeah, it's a fighting style. It's a set of techniques. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you're fighting. I mean, I'd prefer not to say it fighting. I mean, I guess it is fighting, but
Is the word technique a kindergarten word? I'm wondering.
no, it probably is not. That's why I said I just explained the same thing when I talk to a kid, I talk to the same way I talk to you. I don't like change anything. And here's what I've found, Chris, in talking to kids understand way more than you think they understand.
Yes, I'm not going to deny that. But I also think one of the things that's hard for me to do, and I think it's hard for you to do, is to adjust your explanation based upon the comprehension ability of the person you're talking to.
Yeah, right.
And so kids should be a more obvious example because they're less educated and they haven't lived as many years.
Yeah.
But you have this problem talking to people who they can't conceptually understand AI. They can't conceptually understand whatever's going on in philosophy and in logic or whatever, right? I mean, and so you end up having to be able to do this with everyone. And if you do it well, this is an art. It's a skill.
Oh.
I've seen people who they aren't good at anything except they can explain things. It can explain relatively complex ideas relatively simply to people who have a simple understanding and make those people feel smart.
Yeah, right.
If you can make someone feel smart on a difficult topic, you've got a skill that's money.
Yeah,
it's worth money.
You've got a skill. I keep thinking back to Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson always says, like, if you're teaching something, you should be able to know like 10 levels higher than the level you're teaching at.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Because I'm thinking to myself, I want to dive into level 10 right away with you.
Yeah.
But if it's new to you, expecting you to think at level 10 is going to be kind of crazy.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Yeah, very crazy.
I need to be able to, for lack of a better term, dumb it down to level 1, bring you in at level 1, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and I don't like the word dumb it down.
I do because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel special and smarter and better than you.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay. It's like what I'd rather see is that you're distilling the essential truth of something down into something that somebody could understand. Like, for instance, my master, Alan Goes, right? He's what is he, 7th degree black belt. And I asked him one time, do you ever get tired of teaching white belts? He goes, no, I never get tired of it. Because what I'm teaching you from day one is the essence of jujitsu. This is the essence of it. I'm distilling down everything into something that you can do right now.
Okay, you just used distilling in 2 different ways in my mind.
Yeah, okay.
Distilling it down to the essence, distilling it down to something you can do.
Yeah.
Those are not the same thing in my mind.
Yeah, correct.
So I agree with distilling it down to something you could do. So I'm going to take a complex topic and I'm going to distill it down to something you can comprehend.
Yeah, right.
Right? And it has nothing to do, it may not even be a good breakdown of what the entire topic is. I may be starting in a place that we end up with a viewpoint that's totally outside of that.
Potentially, yeah.
Whereas distilling down to the essence would be like, oh, I take this complex idea and I distill it down to this one little idea that you can that explains the big thing.
Yeah, right.
And so
Right.
I think that's a nuanced distinction, but I think there's the second thing you said, distill it down to something you can do, distill it down to something you can comprehend, distill it
Yeah.
down to within the capabilities of the person you're talking to. So part of that is you need to assess the person's capabilities, what they know, what they
Yes.
don't know.
Of
You
course.
can't
Yeah.
you can't do the typical mansplaining thing where you assume they don't know things,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And that pisses people off all the time,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Have you tried unplugging and replugging in your laptop?
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the problem I have with customer service is they've got a script to follow, which handles the
Yes.
dumbest people. And I usually
Yes.
say, before you ask me any of these questions, let me tell you everything I've done.
Yeah. Right.
Right? I don't want to go through your script, so I'll tell
Yeah.
you what
Right.
I've done. Please
Yeah.
escalate me to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
That's and that's one of those things. And it's always the case. Every customer service group you have, they're designed to figure out the dumb people or the people who don't know what they're doing, I should say,
Yeah.
because
Right.
versus those who know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, but here's what I'm gonna throw at you, Chris. I'm gonna say that even though you think you're super smart, if you can't explain it in a simple way that a child can understand, just like you mentioned before, you're not that smart. You don't understand.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just fight you on this. It's not about smarts. It's about how well you understand something. It's the breadth of your understanding,
Mhm.
right? So smart.
Yeah.
Smart to me is about intelligence. Intelligence and knowledge and wisdom, they're all slightly different things.
Yeah, you're nuanced.
Right?
I need
So
to
I
get
can
more
have
nuanced in
incredible
my
knowledge, but no wisdom in how to talk to you about it.
Yes, right.
Right? I can have the most incredible intellect in the world and not be able to communicate it. That, in fact,
Yes.
a lot of really smart people are horrible
Very
at
common.
communication.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it's not about smart. It's about your ability to how you understand something. It's the context you understand it in. Right? You can
Yeah.
have someone who doesn't know as much as the smart guy, but is so much better at communicating it that everyone around him sees them as the smart guy.
Yeah, right. 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 Yeah, I need to get more precise with my language. Thank you.
I think we all need to get precise with the language.
Yes.
I think we all need to be more deliberate about the words we use.
Yeah.
One of the things I really do like about the people online who argue a lot, so Peterson and some of the other ones that are out there, is their ability to find one word that captures something that I would have used 5 words to describe.
Yeah. No, right. Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
Most of us have more vocabulary than we use on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
But you don't want to sound conceited like that some pompous guy who just knows the dictionary like the back of his hand. That's not what you want either. You want to use words that are a little bit out of the day-to-day lexicon of the average person. So it shows that you have that knowledge, that you're able to use it in conversation. It gives more weight to your arguments, but it also gets people to think and know immediately what you're getting at. The communication's faster.
Yeah, it's so funny because I think in terms of Southernisms now, the South, how they speak in the
Yep.
South.
Mhm.
And the challenge is you can really get confused or you can get wrong because a lot of the people are incredibly smart here, but they don't use big words. They're just very simple, but they understand deep, complex problems actually. So I heard one guy saying one time, he was talking about his business and he hired this new sales guy and he went on for like 30 minutes and this other guy was just listening and he just said one sentence. He goes, "Well, that dog doesn't hunt, get a new dog." you know, boom, just like, okay, you just right between the eyes, no going back and forth. Yep.
Well, see, the thing is,
I love that.
concepts,
Yeah.
complex concepts don't need complex words.
No. Yeah.
Right? One of the things when I was living in Japan and I was speaking Japanese, my language, my vocabulary, aside from a few random words that I knew from the news, was probably like a 5th or 6th grade vocabulary.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like college level ideas and thoughts and discussions. So I would explain politics, democratic, whatever, without knowing what the word for Democrat was. And democracy was. And I would talk about democracies or capitalism or taxes. I would have those conversations using 6th grade Japanese.
Yeah. Right.
And it actually requires you to to understand the idea
Yeah.
in a way that uses basic words.
Yeah. Correct. Have
And
you ever had a case like I love it when this happens? You got this idea, but you don't have the language to describe it. So you just try to like go around and around and take, I'm exaggerating, but 20 minutes to try to explain it. And then somebody else just like nails it in 3 words. And you never say you're right. You say the phrase that's right. Because that's when you're like, I've been trying to figure out how to explain. I mean, I understand the concept, but I never could put the words on it.
well,
And
I
just
think I
nailed
told
it.
you, was it a couple years ago, I discovered the word systems thinking
Okay, yes.
used in relation to solving problems amongst a bunch of complex systems,
Okay, yeah.
right? Where when a system changes, it changes all the other systems it interacts
right.
with, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, yeah, that's the work I've been doing for years, and I just called it complex problem solving. I didn't
Yeah,
actually
right.
have a term for it. And so, as soon as I heard the word for it, I got, that's the word I want to use.
That's right.
And I'm still finding definitional problems with it. A lot of people don't understand it. It's got too much of an IT bent to it, and many people think I'm talking IT when I'm not. I'm talking about broader systems. But nonetheless, it captures so much better this idea of a bunch of different complex systems that interact in really difficult ways.
Well, and this is the power of AI. I use AI all the time to do this, actually, as I'll go ramble around for multiple sentences. And I'm like, what do you call this thing? Or this thing that I've been mentioning, like, how do you say that in 5 words? And a lot of times it nails it. I'm like, oh, man, that's it. Yep.
So
Got it.
So you know how my mind jumps around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about someone who's really smart yesterday on a YouTube video or online or something like that. And then I remember a YouTube video I watched about the woman who's like the smartest woman in the world or something like that.
Yeah.
And she was able to solve in a magazine this problem, this probability problem. And it's very counterintuitive. I mean, you may have seen this in many places, but I couldn't remember the name of the problem. So I went to AI and said, what's that problem that has 3 doors and behind them, one of them's a prize, and then you have to figure out what the best one choice is? And it, the Monty Hall problem. Monty Hall being the host of, was it The Price is Right years ago?
Yeah, right.
And then, yeah, that's right. And then I'm like, see, that one's one where your frame of reference is wrong. The world has changed, or the situation has changed, but your frame of reference is still in the initial frame of reference, and that's where the paradox comes into play.
Yeah.
Right. And I said, okay, give me some other paradoxes, some other famous paradoxes in math and probability.
Yeah.
And it came up with like 7 or 8 other paradoxes, and I went through each of them. And I said, these are not the same thing. You're redefining words from one to the next. You're not keeping the same definition. You're changing the conditions in such an obvious manner. There's no paradox here.
Yeah, right.
The amazing thing about the Monty Hall paradox was, and maybe I should explain real quick what that is. There's 3 doors. There's a prize behind one door. You pick a door.
Yeah.
Right? You have a 33% chance of winning the prize.
Mm-hmm.
The host then says, there's 2 other doors. He goes, and it's not behind door number 3. Let's say you choose door number 1. I say, look, it's not behind door number 3. So you've got door number 1, door number 2 is still closed, and door number 3 is open and doesn't have the prize. You know it's now either behind door number 1 or door number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Should you change? Yeah, he goes, do you want to change doors? What should you do? Do you know the answer to this?
I remember way back when, but I forgot. It was
the answer
not
is
intuitive.
Definitive yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will have a 66% chance of winning if you change doors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas now if you came into the situation and there were only 2 doors, which is how you think of it, then it's a 50-50 chance to be right. But you chose under the conditions when it was a 33% chance, which means there was a 66% chance that one of the other 2 doors had the prize.
Yeah.
That 66 hasn't changed. You just removed one of the options. So now the one option that's left has a 66% chance of being right.
Yeah.
And it's conceptually hard to get around, but it does make sense when you're able to figure it out.
Yeah.
But the problem is the way our minds work. That's where the paradox is.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas every other paradox I came across was really just a definitional change. You were changing the definition of the word in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So it didn't really carry the same weight. And I back and forth with AI, and finally I said, these aren't good. You need to give me better ones. And it says I can't give you better ones.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It gave up.
Yeah, it gave up. Yeah, because it's AI's designed, it's programmed at its core, designed to please, right? At the essence.
Yeah,
of it.
and obviously, however it was searching, was not able to find things. So, could I have prompted a better search? Possibly, if I thought about it. go look at math journals, go into whatever, try to give it better places to find information. I
Yeah.
could have tried that. But I was already tired having had a half-hour conversation about
Yeah.
this.
You get worn out. Yeah, exactly. And, I never spent the time to really understood it. The only thing that's in my brain is like, I know enough. If I see that pattern again, I'm like, wait a minute, this is not obvious. So I got to go research this before I make a choice. So,
Yeah,
because I know
but
there's a gotcha
I
here.
think that one of the things to realize is what causes a paradox when something is not as expected,
Yeah.
right? But if you can see the disconnect
Yeah.
immediately,
Yeah.
logically, then I don't think it's a paradox. The paradox is where it's not obvious to you where the disconnect is.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what
Right.
makes it impressive. What is it about the bias in the way a human or that I think or my culture thinks or my language thinks? What is it that's causing me to come out with that result? Those are
Yeah.
the things that are really interesting because that means that there's an inherent bias in some aspect of something you take for granted.
Always. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, remember we were talking about ego the past couple of times, and the insidious part with ego is it can affect your decisions, but you're not able to see it. That's what's so dangerous about it. So if you know that, if you're truly a wise person and a smart person, then if you have complex decisions, you'll always get other people like, man, can you like double check this for me? I just want to make sure I'm not, blind and I don't see something.
So yeah, I try to do that with AI in any kind of conversation I have with it. So
Yeah.
I'll go down a rabbit hole trying to figure out statistics on something. Like I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out. So, hinting at this book I want to talk about, the book is basically going on about how seed oils are awful, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so I said, okay, give me some stats on how many people potentially have been negatively impacted by seed oils.
Yeah, right.
And I went and we built this whole process of how it could be, right? And then I said, okay, now give me the stats on how many people have been saved by seed oils. I need the
Okay, good.
opposite viewpoint, right? And it gave me a bunch of stats, and I said, and then it explained the stats to me. I said, wait, that's correlation, not causation,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That someone who exercises has has a better chance of or has lower heart problems. Great,
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah.
right? But is it the fact that they're exercising, or is it the fact that they gave up smoking? Is it the fact that they're eating healthier? Is it the fact that they are taking medication, aren't taking medication?
Yeah,
What
right.
else could be the cause of that? It couldn't be that they're not, one doesn't cause the other, but the lifestyle or other changes that occur actually make it happen in both
Yeah,
cases, right?
right.
And so I was saying, those stats you're giving me, there's correlation in there besides causation. So I then
Yeah.
went back and we broke apart correlation versus causation and said, this is the number we think that we can prove by causes. This is what we think it is with correlation.
Yeah, right.
And then I said, okay, now what am I missing from this?
Yeah, right. Mhm.
Where's my bias? And it's like my bias was I was using correlation causation breakdown on the opposite side. I wasn't using it on my side.
Well, there you go.
And
Right.
I actually called it out on its behalf, saying we need to do the same thing on both sides. It's not a
Mhm.
proper experiment if I'm not keeping my constraints consistent across the
Yeah, right.
board.
Right, right, right. Hmm.
And
Yeah.
this is where so many people, so many scientists, or so many scientific studies fall short. Is they use the bias to miss something that they should have kept consistent, or they should have kept a certain way.
Well, and that's just how our system works. I mean, typically the people funding the study, they're sort of expecting an outcome, and you just like AI, it's like you want to please your boss, so you're like, okay, you're going to try to figure out the answer they want to hear.
I was talking to a guy yesterday, and yeah, when he was in med school, his teacher gave them a scientific study, and they were supposed to read it, and they said, "What is this? What is this study about?" And most of the people were lazy. They read the summary at the front and then the conclusion at
Yeah.
the end, and said, and he goes, "Nope, that's not it. That's not it." And he goes, "If you bothered to read it, you would
Yeah, right.
see that the experiment was flawed in the way it was structured,
Hmm.
and therefore there's no way that they could have proven what they're stating at the end."
Yeah,
Right?
right. Yeah.
And they said, "Now, why would that be?"
Yeah.
Well, it turns out most of these labs, and it was a lab that produced it, have to publish a certain amount to continue
Yeah.
to get funding.
Yeah, right.
And what keeps them interested is certain types of publications and certain
Of
results.
course.
So basically, money, right? These people want to
Yes.
keep a job, so they've got to produce stuff. And
Yes.
there's the bias right there.
There's the bias. Well, that's what we got taught in business school. They're like, if you ever want the truth, follow the money. It'll always lead you to the truth.
Wait, that seems counterintuitive. That'll lead you to the people lying, won't it? Because they follow the money. The money.
Well, well, what I'm saying is, you'll discover the truth by following the money.
You'll discover the underlying goals, which
Yeah.
which will tell you how much you can trust the results.
Yeah, and that's not true in every case, but in most cases, you're like, okay, follow
a
the
good
money.
a good scientist is still able to give you an unbiased viewpoint, or they recognize their bias and can say, here's the things we're biased about.
Maybe not necessarily.
Well,
though.
I think a good how good is the average scientist? Not that good. How good is the average anything? Not that good.
Well, I guess it depends. You have to define what good means or whatever like that. But yeah.
You've got to be willing to fail in your experiment to be able to do a proper experiment.
That's exactly, which
Right.
is the great segue into
which is like what?
like a great segue like into your failures of 75 hard. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? I mean, it was weird. One day it would be the reading that was hard to do. Another day it would be the picture that was hard to do. The water was never hard to do.
Okay, yeah.
And I've always had problems with just setting aside the time for the exercise. But no, what ended up happening was after I hurt my knee last Saturday, I just ended up missing like something every day for like 3 days.
Okay.
And then I also realized that I was concentrating more of my time and effort on prepping for this for these interviews. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to keep up as many as I can, but I'm not going to push myself to do everything on there yet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reset maybe I'll reset at the beginning of the month. Maybe that's what I'll do.
Yeah,
I
that's
think at that point, I'll be ready to concentrate.
So is that strategy or is that just a bunch of excuses?
Oh, that's giving up, but it's giving up for a reason.
Yeah, well, everybody's
I'm
got
justifying the reason I'm giving up. No, there's no doubt about that.
Okay. So
ideally, I should just be able to reset and go.
Yeah, ideally, that's interesting.
Right?
See, that's perfect though, and I'm not like on you. I just wanted to get enough just to get that admission actually. But it's like, here's the cool thing, Chris, and this is the whole point of doing 75 hard, is it exposes weaknesses that we didn't know we had. So now we can go try to fix those weaknesses.
Or in this case, it just reiterates the ones I knew I had, and I needed a plan better for. Like I have a real weakness. 10 o'clock at night, if I've missed dinner because I've got meetings or events to go to.
Yeah.
I'm driving home at 10 o'clock at night and I'm just hungry.
Yeah.
Right. And I know I shouldn't be eating at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't be eating the stuff that I can get a hold of at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, right.
And yet I do.
Yeah. 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 And that's beautiful. You know why that's so beautiful actually, and you're so clear on it, is now you can make a decision. You decide, well, am I going to follow the path of discipline or am I going to follow the path of my desire?
So as I was driving home yesterday, having eaten something I shouldn't have eaten,
yeah.
I was like, I really need to go back to carrying, keto snacks or whatever it is that would work for me, right?
Yeah.
Which I, when I was doing carnivore and strict keto, I always made sure that there was things that I could get a hold of easily, so that if I did have a worry, and ideally you shouldn't let hunger affect you that much. I should just be able to skip a meal without a problem.
Well, but it is what it is, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but the problem I've noticed is when it's late at night and it's time when I'm probably should be going to bed, and in the like, that's when I find my willpower is the weakest when it comes to food.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's perfect. But now you know that, so you just discovered something. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, I've known it for a while. The problem now is I've got to put the effort into planning around it ahead of time, knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now I've got to put in the effort to make sure that I don't do the bad thing, whatever that means. Does that mean I go to bed early so I don't even notice I'm hungry? Does that mean I eat something no matter what, even if that means screwing up my schedule earlier on? What does it mean?
I don't know. I don't know what
does it mean.
Means.
I carry beef jerky in my back pocket, trail mix, or what does it mean?
I mean, there's a bunch of solutions to it. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. But still, though, you're. Yeah.
So I got a question for you. Back when we were discussing, should we be able to put element in our water or not? Right? Remember we discussed that a few episodes ago. I've got this question now. So I'm gonna now parse that and ask this: what would happen? You've got your water bottle and you've got your element water bottle.
Yeah.
Can you pour them together? You're still drinking a gallon of water, and then you've got this separate water bottle of element over here. Is there you're now going to drink a gallon plus that, so you're not getting rid of it. So you're not what cutting back on the water you're drinking. Is it okay to mix those?
Yeah, right.
And what
No.
what started was like, oh, okay, let's say you drink your element and there's like an ounce left at the bottom, and then you start pouring in your
Yeah.
water. Have
Yeah.
you broken the rule by doing that?
Yes.
Why?
Yep. Because
Why?
the rule says you have to drink a gallon of plain water. That's it. That's the rule.
Okay.
And I mean, and you're doing the same thing I'm doing because, yeah, man, I like a mental breakdown thinking about
No,
that.
no.
But
I
yeah,
can accept the argument that there is no variance from the rule. If you're making the argument there is no
yeah,
variance
right.
from the rule, then I can get it.
Yeah,
If the
yeah,
justification is, oh, well, you got your gallon and you can drink more than a gallon if you want to, but
yeah,
don't make it, don't assume that you can turn your water into your element. No. Yeah, that's a separate thing. See, my
yeah,
argument would be that if I were really wanting to defend this, I would say, oh no, I still got my separate water, so I'm now going to drink a gallon and a half or 1.1 gallons or whatever, right? I've just gone ahead and made one big bucket of everything that I'm going to drink throughout the day. I'll pour my cup of coffee, my cup of tea, all in this one big gallon, and I'll have a gallon and a half of liquid I'm drinking for the day,
yeah.
right?
I got you. Here's
Technically, you're still hitting the gallon, but if the rule is you have to follow the word to the rule to the letter, then you're breaking the rule.
well, and you don't have to. You don't have to do anything actually, but you're not doing 75 hard then, right? You're doing something else. And I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. It just is. But here's the pattern though that trips both of us. We got this both bad, Chris, is we're always looking for some sort of hack to get around
Well, I
the
wasn't even
hard
thinking of it as a hack. It's like, so I've got my water with my blue stuff in it, right?
work.
And
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, do I need to rinse it out before I pour regular water in there?
Yes.
And to me, it's like, well, that seems dumb,
Well,
right? If it's
that's not the,
empty,
yeah,
if it's empty and it's residual stuff in there, let's say it's empty and it's just a residual drops in there,
yeah,
then according to the letter of the rule, I can't use that cup unless I wash it out.
correct. Because you're not drinking pure water.
Yeah. And so that's then it seems like we're splitting and I understand the value is in there's no splitting hairs, right?
Yes.
It's just the way it is.
Yes.
But then it's like, so what is the value of it? It's in the not splitting the
Build
hairs,
self
right?
build self-discipline. That's what it is.
It's
Self-discipline. That's the value of it.
Is it self-discipline or is it
That's
there's a
discipline. It's building
self-discipline
discipline.
element. There's self-discipline. The other element is to accept reality. So if we say that the rules are reality, we have to accept them. It's
I
almost like
mean,
we're saying
yeah.
the rules are the reality of the world for the next 75 days, and we either accept them
Yes.
or we don't. And if you don't accept them,
Yeah. Correct.
that means you didn't do it. So it's almost like a proxy
Correct.
for reality. This is our
I
proxy
mean, I
for
suppose.
reality. Is
Yeah.
these are the rules we're going to follow. But it's great when you think about it from this
Yeah.
standpoint. Like we talked about the fact that I get up at 5:30 in the morning, no matter what time I go to bed.
Yeah.
I don't have an alarm clock, but I just get up at 5:30. It's not that I get up at 5:30. That's the way the world is.
Yeah.
There's no
yeah.
question
For you.
I'm
That's
gonna
how
get up
you.
at
That's your
5:30. It's
habits.
just
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
just the way the world is. So that's reality to me, right? And I think a lot
Yeah.
of the
Right.
things that we want to build character or build into our lives, any activities
Yeah.
you want to build into our lives, you need to build in. So it's like there's no question. I don't schedule this. I just do this.
Yeah. Right. Correct. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That
Now I will
to
tell
get
you
to
something.
that point.
Like I fell off 75 hard too, but it's like, man, I got a lot of benefit from 75 hard, and it's like I had no idea of how much negotiation I would be doing with myself. Now my negotiation is much less. It's like I just go and do it. Like I got my work in today in between one meeting and another meeting. I finished one meeting at 2 and I had this meeting at 3 my time. And I'm like, well, shoot, I could go work out. I could do my 45 minutes. I could come back, take a shower, take a cold shower because I was tired. But I'm like, look, if I do my workout, I get my cold shower, I'll be ready for the podcast. Before I would have sat and spun for 30 minutes thinking about that, and then it's too late. Now I missed my window. Now I'm like, I just got to go. I got to go because I don't have time to think.
Again, it's almost like it's a reality. It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's just it, right? It's like if you're fighting someone, you're gonna get punched. It's just a reality, right? If you think, no matter what you think, this is a reality, and so part of the discipline here is to accept that that's reality.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe a good way to put it. I may want to tweak it later, but for now, that's good enough. But it's like literally, Chris, this is what self-discipline does for you, is you literally are able to predict the future. You're literally to will something into existence by sheer willpower. That's
Predict
powerful.
The future.
Man. Yeah.
I don't like the word predict.
Okay, let's forget about predict. Let's say you can will reality into existence by sheer thought.
You can, I would even use the word
you
build.
Create reality.
Create would be okay.
Yeah.
Because I think if we go back to the idea of reverse engineering a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to make $1 million a year.
Yeah.
Well, obviously I'm not making $1 million a year right now.
Yeah, right.
So whatever I'm doing right now, whatever I've got in place right now is not the things I need to make $1 million a year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if I reverse engineer, what does someone who's making $1 million a year have that I don't have?
Yeah, right.
What skills do they have? What knowledge do they have? What connections do they have? Whatever do I have? Yeah. And then I go back and say, okay, I need to build those things. I need to create those things.
Yeah.
I don't need to create the $1 million. I need to create those things because those things will lead to the $1 million. Right. And
almost
so then I work
case,
backward from there. How do I build getting the right context?
Yeah, right.
How do I build getting the right skills? How do I build all these kinds of things? And then what you're saying, well, a person who has those skills studies every week, every day. A person who has those skills works out twice a day. A person who has those skills does this. A person who has that ability does that. And then and so then what ends up happening is just like 75 is giving you 5 tasks to do. You're now giving yourself these tasks to do, saying, I want that. I need to be able to do that. So I need to be the person who does this to get that outcome.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's not a question of, oh, I need to go exercise. I need to schedule exercise. No, I am someone who exercises.
Yeah.
I am someone who does this. Right.
Yeah.
It's that then you're getting to the alter ego, fake it to make it, whatever you want to call. But you become that.
Yes.
In behavior, you become that in behavior until you become that in reality.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's called identity. That's why I have my identity statement. Like this is my aspirational identity, and it's like, oh, that person does this automatically. They don't sit around thinking about working out. They just go work out. Mm-hmm. And so it's changing me, not near as fast as I want. It's like I think I underestimated the difficulty of doing 75 hard, but I'm going to get it done because
really?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I underestimated it, because I knew my propensity to find reasonable excuses to everything.
Oh, that's there. There you go. Yeah.
I can justify not doing anything or doing anything.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, excuses doesn't get stuff done.
No, but it's like, oh, I'm not doing this because of X, Y, Z. They're perfectly logical explanations.
Yeah,
but it's still an out. It's not, it's still not doing the thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So this is what I want to go after as well too, because you brought up the word logic. Logic's not foolproof. Logic is a powerful tool, but it doesn't solve everything.
Like any tool, you can use it for different results than are ideal.
Yeah, right. So you need logic and love and discipline and a bunch of skills.
I would say vision, and vision ties to leadership, and vision ties to so you always need a vision, and that might be a goal that defines the vision or whatever else. But and then so I'm seeing us build this complex diagram of here's your values, here's your why, here's your vision, here's your beliefs. How does that tie into your discipline? How does that tie into your self-awareness? It's we pick one thing and say that's the thing you need, but it's not. It's everything.
We need a bunch of things together, actually. Right. Yeah.
And if you have a lot of discipline, maybe you don't need as much some other things. Yeah, correct. But you still need everything. Right. You need a little bit of everything at the least.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. I mean, I heard that when I heard Chad Wright, he's like an ex-Navy SEAL, and just the way he talks is so interesting because he talks, everybody thinks, oh, you got all the discipline and you got this because you're a SEAL. And he's like, no, 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 no. I'm a SEAL because I have that. I mean, part of being a SEAL is you got to go through the whole Hell Week and Buds thing, which is a sorting process more than anything. It just sorts out the people who really want to be there and who doesn't want to be there.
Yep.
And they're like, we pop out the end of that. They're like, okay, now we're actually going to invest some time and money in you because you've sort of proven yourself, right?
Yeah, I think you can build discipline in people, but it is not something the average person is going to be able to put up with. You need to have conditions that allow you to strip them down. So that's why something like boot camp makes sense that they would do something like that. But in the everyday world, you're not going to have access to someone to be able to do that sort of thing to them.
But you can build it yourself if you really want it.
You can, but think of the self-awareness and the understanding of what you're trying to do and what's required. That, again, is not the average person. That's someone who has gone beyond what I would consider the average self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
See, the thing about boot camp is it doesn't matter how self-aware you are. You're stuck in that position. They're going to force it into you. They're going to force that change and discipline into you.
Yeah, but if you're going to the SEAL program, they don't force you. In fact, you get every offer. It's like, hey, you can leave right now.
Yeah,
just go ring the bell.
You pre-selected. It's not. You're going to tell me everyone who tries out for the SEAL program is just an average Joe?
No, they're exceptional.
Okay,
actually.
okay. So it's not apples to apples. It's apples and oranges. I'm talking about the average person, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to fix the elites. I'm trying to fix the average person. I want to make the average person not even fix. I want the average person, because I think the average person will get more benefit out of a little bit of self-awareness than an elite person will get out of a little bit of self-awareness.
Yeah. So in that case, then the average person, you have to willingly put yourself in difficult situations, right? You have to go to jujitsu,
and that's what's gotten harder to do. Is people are so afraid to put themselves in, and even slight discomfort is considered horrible now.
Yeah. That's a problem. But you don't get the prize unless you go through that.
So what I'm doing, deep knee bends on my bad knee. I'm like, am I hurting my knee or not? I can't tell, but it hurts.
Well, but here's the thing, Chris. See, that could go to stupid.
It could go
because
to stupid,
the thing is, you don't worry about the pain. You worry about getting better. So you got to go to somebody with technical competence in there to know that is that pain good pain or is that a bad pain?
And I think there might be some distinctions in there. I think I might be getting both. I think in most cases it's not bad pain, and usually I can tell by the mechanics and how they work.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, wait, that doesn't quite seem right. And then I've got to sit there and wonder, should I be doing this or not? So
yeah, right. But that's why you got to go to rehab. Go to somebody that's spent years of training to figure out exactly how to rehab your knee.
Come on, YouTube's got all my answers. YouTube tells me everything I need to know.
Well, there you go. Go to YouTube, actually. And their job is not to figure out how much pain you can I guess they got to figure out. Their job is to get your knee better as fast as possible. They're not concerned with how much pain
so my issue was I didn't do the work after the knee surgery 20 some odd years ago to build the knee up the way I should have.
Yeah, there you go.
And so I avoided the pain of doing that work back then, and now I've got a different level of pain I've got to work through now.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost always cheaper, in my opinion, to pay now than pay later, almost in every case. Which is why the general rule I'm trying to follow is that if you have two paths in front of you, always choose the harder one. Now with some conditions around that, not just hard because it's hard, but because it's going to take you to your goal. But
it's like, okay, as you said, it's cheaper to pay now than later. I was thinking of buying a car.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or buying a home, or buying anything with future money, right? I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's almost always cheaper, and maybe not every single case, but in almost every case, it's cheaper.
Not when you get the 0% loan on your car, because then it's actually smarter not to, because the money's worth less in the future than it is today.
Very likely, if you're disciplined. If you're not disciplined, bad idea. Because
both of my cars that we bought in the past, whatever the last two cars we bought was on 0% loans. So.
Yeah, as long as you're financially disciplined, that's the right rule. But if you're not, then they do that intentionally to put you into a trap, right? They know exactly what they're doing.
Well, and my thinking was this: I could either pay for the car, or I could use a 0% loan. I actually chose the 0% loan over outright payments, which I know is against what's his name's principles. But the idea was, I thought in 5 years' time, that payment will have gone down in value, even though it's the same dollar amount, right?
Well,
Because
and
of
that's true. And as
inflation.
long as you have good financial discipline, that's the best answer for you. But for the average person, probably not. Most people are
No,
not that financially disciplined.
that's unfortunate because that to me is pretty basic understanding of
Well, I
finances.
know, I know, I
That's
know.
something that I mean, how can we get more people to understand that?
Well, you can't be good in everything because that same dude that's not good in finance, he would have done his knee workout 27 years ago and wouldn't have had a problem. For him, that's just simple. It's just that's why 75 hard
No,
is so
I've got a
powerful.
reason why I couldn't do it though. I've got a
You got
good
a reason.
reason why I
Okay.
couldn't do it. I'm telling you.
You got a reason. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's got a reason for everything. So
Everybody's always got a reason. Always got a reason. Yep. That's correct.
this book I'm reading or listening to, actually, this is the book I'm reading, the one that fell. The book I'm listening to is called Dark Calories, and it's all about seed oils, vegetable oil, but most vegetable oils are seed oils,
Yeah.
and how they've kind of just taken over the food industry
Yeah, there's mixed
and
opinions on
what's
that. Yeah.
happened to our health.
Yeah.
It goes into what some people would consider conspiracy theory, but there is a lot of interesting information that you can put together from it, right?
Yeah.
We all know about the studies in the 70s that said that fat was bad, sugar was good.
Yeah, right.
And then, but apparently there were studies in the 50s, and I think there was a heart attack scare in America in the 50s, and I think Eisenhower had a heart attack in office, or somebody had a heart attack as the president, and so there was this big push to come up with what caused it and what can we do to fix it.
Yeah.
And so right at the time, this guy Ansel Keys was doing research on this, and he tied it to high cholesterol.
Yeah.
That has since been relatively debunked, although the
Mhm.
medical industry for decades believed this and still pretty much does.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, right.
There's dietary cholesterol, which the U.S. government back in 2015 or something like that said
Yeah.
dietary cholesterol does not impact your blood cholesterol.
Yeah, right.
So don't worry about eating squid, which is really high in dietary
Mhm.
cholesterol, and eggs. Remember, we used to be
Of course, because it had
was it
cholesterol. Yeah.
an egg every other day, 3 eggs a week, 4 eggs a week, or something like that was what the guidance was
Yeah.
for a
They're
while.
evil. Right. Exactly.
So now that's not the case. But what's happened is the idea, and then of course the idea of good cholesterol, bad cholesterol, HDL versus LDL. Your
Yeah.
body needs both, so how could either of them be bad?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You take but one away, you'll die instantly.
And then so I went down a rabbit hole today. I was using Grok to do this one just to see how it would be, and I said, so I started with this idea, this kind of idea I have of if policy makes a decision that has a secondary outcome, a second order outcome that's bad, can I attribute the bad things to it? So if for example, the example I gave was if the way the government led the COVID response back in 2020, because they were all over the place saying all kinds of different things, right?
Yeah, right.
If I looked at how a unified, aligned guidance from them versus what we got, the distinction, how many more people would have been saved had we had an aligned viewpoint? And we were calculating out some numbers, and so I think we came out to like 200,000 people might have been saved out of the 1.2 million that died. So I said, okay, now I want to extrapolate this kind of thinking to this guy who did the study that said that cholesterol was bad.
Yeah, right.
And then the organizations he worked with got all their money from the seed oil companies like P&G and other companies that were making seed oils, who basically said, well, because seed oils lower your cholesterol, they're good for your heart.
Yeah, right.
Even though some of the studies were showing that that's not necessarily the case and that cholesterol wasn't necessarily that bad to begin with, they ignored some of that stuff and they pushed this. And even into the 2000s, and even from the 80s on, where they kind of knew that it wasn't the case, that's still been what's been pushed by, even today, the American Heart Association has doubled down and says cholesterol is bad for you. So I think, how many deaths can I attribute to this, what may be flawed philosophy, coming from the viewpoint that seed oils are bad? And it's not that LDL is bad, it's what happens to LDL when you oxidate it. Right? The oxidation of the cholesterol is what causes the problems. What causes the oxidation, one theory, is heavy seed oils, right? So that's where it's coming from. And so we did calculations, and then I said, okay, now let me go the other way. How many lives have been saved by seed oil?
Hmm.
My bias right now is that seed oil is bad, and we're getting these numbers. Let's now look at it from the other side. Let's flip it on its head. If I
Hmm.
now have the bias that seed oils are saving lives, how do I calculate the numbers?
Yeah.
And so we calculated the numbers. And right now, my numbers are such that seed oils are overall worse than what they gave us.
Okay.
They saved lives, they killed people, and the numbers I have from my current calculation are, we probably lost about 11 million people, between 6 and 11 million people over 70 years due to seed oils, but we probably saved about 2 to 5 million people.
Okay. So
I, you know,
I have no idea.
I think if I just go by the numbers, one looks better than the other.
Yeah.
But as with everything, nothing's ever purely good, purely bad.
No, because there's so many other factors. I mean, that's assuming that
Oh, yeah.
that's the only factor,
Smoking
right?
went from 42% of the population in the 50s to 12% of the population in nowadays. And
Uh-huh.
smoking is also known to cause heart problems. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
how much of an impact was that?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many environmental factors involved in things. I know that where I typically like to go down in this particular case, like if I was thinking about this problem, I'd be like, well, wait a minute, is it cholesterol the problem? Or are we down at the very bottom? Is there actually a root cause that's causing this? And so typically in my mind, what I think in terms of is cholesterol's not a problem. The problem is inflammation, and then little things happen in your things, and then the cholesterol goes in and patches over, and they view that as the problem. And
Well,
so
there's also the
cholesterol's not
idea
the
that
problem.
the oxidized cholesterol has that problem, and inflammation is also tied to the oxidation
Yeah,
as well.
right, correct,
So
actually.
is oxidation the cause? Is inflammation the cause? Is it some mixture of them? And and then what's causing the inflammation? Was it the seed oils are causing the inflammation? Oh, okay, so then they're
Well,
causing the
that's a different
oxidation,
thing,
right?
yeah.
And so then there's all of that type of conversation. But just in practice or in theory, having to use dangerous chemicals on something to make it useful or to make it something that we can eat just doesn't
Yeah.
sound like the right way to go. If I
No,
have to use all
it doesn't.
these poisonous chemicals to remove the poisons from whatever I'm making, and then I'm feeding it to you as food,
Yeah. Yeah, my
it
first thought
just
is that
doesn't feel
doesn't
right.
sound like a good idea, right?
It
But at
just
the
doesn't
same
feel
time,
right. Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad, because is there any remnants of those chemicals left over? I mean, does those chemicals affect the food in a certain way that could cause damage?
So, and this is the problem when you're thinking first order. So your first order is no, it's an improvement. I removed the poisons. We're fine.
Yeah, right.
And then you find out, oh, but it changed the biochemistry, the chemical makeup of this thing that now it binds to some other thing in your blood and makes
Yeah.
your oxygen carrying capabilities worse. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a second order consequence we didn't even look at.
Yeah,
Right.
right,
So
exactly.
I would say common sense says to me, using poisonous chemicals to make something edible
Yeah.
sounds like it's wrought with a lot more problems than not doing that.
Yes, exactly. I
And
would
so
agree
even
with
if
that.
first order consequences show it's safe,
Yeah.
the back of my mind, I've got, yeah, but have you looked at those second and third order consequences in any detail?
Yeah.
Right.
So
To me, that would be a common sense approach to a problem like that. Whereas something else which doesn't have that impact, I'm much more inclined to think that the second and third order consequences probably aren't going to be as bad. Now, it could be wrong; they could be just as bad, but who knows?
So when I'm evaluating things, I take all the information that I can possibly get, and I look for overlaps where everybody agrees. And so the general consensus is in food is that eat minimally processed food. The less processing, the better. And certainly doing all this like seed oil stuff is highly processed as opposed to just picking an apple off a tree and eating it, you know?
Yeah, but the generally held consensus in medicine is that they're safe.
Well, who cares? I mean,
No, but
listen, listen.
is that part of the overlap or not? I'm trying to figure out how that would fit into what you're saying.
I don't even know that I trust general medicine because all I know is we spend how many billions of dollars a year and we keep getting sicker and sicker and sicker,
Okay.
right?
But now you're throwing out some of the generally accepted ideas.
No, I am, but as a general rule, so what I'm throwing out is just because medicine says it's good, that doesn't mean it's good.
So when you're saying generally accepted overlaps or general overlaps, you're looking at overlaps where?
Well, what I'm saying is typically so many people will trust whatever a doctor says, right? And a doctor is
Okay.
driven by the pharmaceutical company. So what I'm saying, if I just if I go way back, right, and I can break that immediately by saying, look, we spend all this money and we're getting sicker and sicker. I'm like, something doesn't line up. That doesn't make sense, right?
But you said when you're looking for the overlaps, and the overlaps are what
That's a different. I'm moved on.
So,
from that one.
show me how would you apply the overlaps when you've got something where it's like the medical industry right now seems to be saying it's still okay to eat seed oils, and there's a different viewpoint. What does overlaps mean in that situation?
Oh, okay. So I would go out and I'd look at what doctors, what nutritionists say, and I would try to find the commonalities.
You're overlapping across expertise. You're overlapping across industries. You're overlapping. Okay, that's what I was getting at.
And looking at the common things everybody agrees to, right?
Right. So when grandma says it, when the government says it, when the school says it, when the doctor says it, when the fitness guru says it, then you're like, okay, then it's probably okay.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it's true. It just means I'll put a higher confidence interval on that data at that point.
Yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, I get that logic, and I kind of agree with that logic, but I'm also in the back of my mind going, yeah, but doctors said that smoking was good for you at one point.
They do, yeah, but doctors are driven. But now we can go back and look. They were driven by pharmacy. They were driven by the big tobacco company at that point.
But looking for overlap is a simple way. If you start going down to motivation, that's something else.
Then you follow the money. Then you got to do overlap plus follow the money. I mean, if you do those things together.
What's your motivation for saying this, right? It's like, you're paying me to, you're paying me to say it in essence. Oh, you're funding my research. That's the same thing as paying me to say it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, you can start to look at, you combine those two things and you can get pretty quickly without doing deep analysis, you can kind of get at least pointed in the right direction generally. But remember, Chris, I'm an engineer. I don't need to go deep analysis. I have these little rule of thumbs and shortcuts that I can get a pretty good answer pretty quickly,
I think, so I like going to understanding motivation. I think that's a good thing to understand. I also look to see where could this be broken when someone says something. And I look at how something is said, right? When someone says this is good for you, if they don't caveat where it might not be good for you, then I immediately distrust the output.
Yeah, possibly.
Right?
Yeah.
So usually when you're doing an experiment, you say, these are the things we did. We were able to prove our theory. Here's the outliers, and here's why we think they're outliers, and why we think the experiment is still good even with these outliers.
Yeah,
right. You don't discredit the entire experiment just because you had one or two things that didn't fit into it.
Yeah.
If you can explain them away in the right way, and how you justify that is important, right?
Yeah.
We didn't like. So one of the thing with Ansel Keys is one of the studies in one of his papers was he showed 6 different countries where the amount of fat they ate was tied to their heart health.
Okay.
Right. And he had a chart, and it showed it. The more fat you ate, like in America, you had a higher chance of getting a heart attack.
Yeah. Right.
So it was a chart with 6 points on it in 6 different countries. It's called the 6-country chart or stuff like that.
Okay.
Turns out he had data points from 22 countries. He excluded the ones that didn't show what he wanted it to show.
Well, of course, it's called bias.
No, that's not. Of course, that's what you call not science. That's what you call. It's not even bad science. That's what you call lying by omission.
Well, yeah, correct, Chris. That's all studies are like. Yes, exactly. That's the default.
No.
That's the default. Yes.
If you say it's science, it's science. It needs to be science.
No, that's called lying. Yeah, exactly. People.
No. Then it's a marketing tool. Then it's an advertisement. Then it's your opinion.
Yes.
Right? No. Yes. Then it's not science, and you can't hide behind science and say I'm a scientist. No, you're a lying friggin' scientist. Yes.
Yeah, right. You're a marketing guy. Yeah, correct. But you can say anything you want. I mean, I can't control people's speech.
Well, you know what? Since he's responsible for the death of what I've calculated as 5 million people, maybe we should have just silenced him and killed him.
I'm just telling you, Chris. That's just how it works. It's like it's just of course. I mean, that's the world we're operating in. Just because somebody says I'm a scientist, I don't trust their data just because they say that. I'm like, you got to show me. You got to prove it to me. Show me your methodology.
He proved it. And it wasn't until a couple years later when people disproved it. And by that point, he already established that he was right and got enough momentum behind it that they couldn't overcome it.
Well, they didn't dig in. They didn't dig enough. I mean, how many countries did you test? Show me all your data, right? I mean, that's the first thing I'd go after. Is this all the data?
And what happens if he says, yeah, it was all the data?
Well, okay, then in that case, I'd be like, okay, I mean, I would have to
Yeah,
start.
you've seen this one woman who got caught lying on her labs on her reports. She got caught out by some group who was saying her results were wrong.
Yeah,
Oh gosh, she sued Harvard or somebody, and Harvard ended up winning. They did an investigation,
yeah.
and she'd gotten her professorship off of
Okay,
these
yeah,
reports and the
yeah,
like, and so they discredited her. But it took years to discredit
yeah,
her,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah,
and the problem with like peer review today, people are too lazy about it. They don't do it
yeah,
well. They don't bother to go back. They either don't know how to do a good study and build an experiment, or they don't do the effort to look. They just look at
yeah.
the like the intro and the summary. The other thing is, if anyone else wants to review it, a lot of these studies are behind a paywall, which
Of
means that
course.
it's hard to go. You got to spend money to go validate that these studies are
Yeah,
any good.
correct. Yeah.
And that's why I really don't like meta studies. To me, meta studies are the laziest thing you could do.
Well, they can
So,
they can have value, but it depends on who's doing the study and why. That's why you got to follow the money. Who's paying for this? Who's going to benefit from the results of this study?
so follow the money's fine, and I think it if you can follow the money, that's the thing. But it's not the only motivation people have.
No, no, not the only one, but I mean, it certainly is a big one. I mean, so in my case, Chris, if I can take multiple people overlapping the results and then follow the money, I mean, I can pretty quickly kind of see if this thing passes the sniff test or not. I may not be precisely right, but I can have a pretty good idea.
I can read a lab report and tell if it passes the sniff test. I don't need anything beyond that.
Maybe, I don't know.
The thing about scientific method properly followed, if you are truly thinking like a scientist, you should be able to go through there and find the faults in it if they're there.
Well, assuming they're not lying, right?
Assuming they're not lying, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. But my method will cover
If
up.
the entire thing's a fabrication,
Yeah,
then I guess it could be a really good fabrication. If it's a
yeah.
really good fabrication, that's the problem is I really don't think things get reviewed anywhere near the way they.
Yeah, no, I agree
they
with
were
you.
in the past.
My technique it'll flush out the lies as well too. It's a very
People want the
practical
credit;
approach.
they don't care about the work.
I mean, some people, yeah. I mean, not everybody.
You're
but
saying some people. I'm just saying. I think there's an impetus now to get the credit for writing a report and not caring about what the results of the report are,
To some
the
extent,
accuracy of the report.
yeah. I mean,
So the actual scientists aren't scientists anymore.
yeah. I mean, I guess you got it. That's why if you really want to get real, true data, then you've got to let really good scientists do that data thing, and you can't influence the results in any way, which is next to impossible to actually implement.
I don't know. I have a view of science that it is possible to do that.
I mean, it could be, but you're talking about human nature, and human nature is just
Like, you're talking
corrupt
about
at
the
the core.
implementation. I'm talking about the purity of science, and you're talking about implementation of that. I think that's what we're.
Yeah, yeah, right. Remember, I'm an engineer, so I'm always looking down to the
So
practical
I think the
side.
purity of science is, yes, science in and of itself can check itself and make sure that bias is minimized.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Right.
right. Exactly.
The issue is that implementation means money has to do anything costs money.
Yeah, anything costs money. But if
Right?
if I was
And,
funding a
and so
study,
how that money gets to you is gonna then dictate if there's additional bias.
yeah, but if I really wanted a good result, right, and I really was after the truth, what I would do is I'd fund two teams. I'd fund, the team that's like trying to prove something, and I'd fund another 10 dudes that were trying to break that thing. And I'd pay them both equal amounts of money. And so basically, then if these 10 dudes, it could be women in there too. These 10 people came up with a result, and the other 10 people that were paid to break it with a bonus. If you break their logic, I'll pay you more.
So
And
your
if they can't
assumption,
break it,
your assumption is that there's gonna be a bias, so you're gonna buy two.
100%.
Wait.
Yes.
So you're gonna buy two teams that are their biases are opposed to each other.
Yes,
Is that what
right,
you're saying?
exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then maybe I have a better chance of getting somewhere
Oh,
to the truth,
in a world where you assume that there's going to be a bias and there's no way
Always,
around
yes.
it, I get your
Yes.
point. Yes.
Yeah, always.
However,
Yeah.
again, I think I could design an experiment that the pure science of it is such that it would be able to, through one study, be able to figure out both. But again, this is the implementation
I
versus pure science viewpoint.
Yeah, I'll somewhat agree with you, potentially, But the problem is there could be biases in just your initial thought. So if I want to get certainty, I
there's
need
always cognitive
multiple
biases.
people.
There's always
Yeah,
cognitive
right.
biases in it, but what I'm saying is the the scientific method, when followed correctly, is extremely self-aware, exceedingly self-aware.
I would
Right.
think
The problem
so. Yeah.
is in implementation, when you start hiring people that have a desired outcome in mind,
Yeah,
they're
right.
they could be as pure as you want in altruistic as you want, but
Yeah.
the bias in what they want to see can influence the way they act. And so
Yes,
what
and
you're saying and what
yes.
you're saying is, so let's get one going one direction and one going the opposite direction.
Yeah, and they might not even see that bias. They would argue to
Yes.
end that I don't have any bias, right?
And then I would argue back saying that they're not pure scientists then.
Well, but they're humans,
Because
Chris. This is just the nature of a
the
human
pure
being.
scientist, this is where I get into what is pure science. The pure scientist is able to look at it from both angles and is able to, in essence, articulate the argument from both sides and then say, here is the theory I want to see if it's true or not. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not. I just have this idea that it could be true. And they go and they develop the experiment such to prove or disprove that that's the case. However, I think what ends up happening is, in order to find funding, you've got to propose an idea as an outcome to start. And
Yeah.
that's no longer true science at that point.
Yeah, right. Well, and that could be the case. I mean, whenever you introduce humans inside of things, then you have problems that start to pop up, you know?
Yeah, but I still think the a lot of these mental realms that we think about, philosophy and all these other things, really require us to be able to build a world that we work in. And I think science builds a world where they try to eliminate as much bias as possible when you're actually following science. The problem is
Oh,
the implementation of real science
yeah.
is tied to money, and therefore it's hard
Yeah.
to divorce that.
Yeah, you try to do your best to eliminate those biases, but you still if you they're still going to be there, and
I
as
mean,
long as you plan that they're there, you know?
in a perfect world, your politicians would have the best interests of their people in mind and would make all decisions as such, and would not be biased by money coming in for their election campaigns.
Ideally, yeah, but that's probably
Right?
not going to
I mean,
happen.
that would be like the purest form of being a political leader. That
Yeah,
seems to
right.
make sense. That
Yeah.
is not what happens, though, in
No, of
implementation.
course not. Yeah. Yeah, because human beings are
This is
we're
this is
prone
like,
to, our
why is socialism and communism so appealing to certain people and certain classes of people? And it's like, because in a pure form, it seems like everyone's treated equally and fairly.
yeah,
But in
right.
implementation, it doesn't
It
happen
doesn't
that
happen.
way.
Right.
Nothing happens in its purest form.
Yeah, correct. Because we're human.
Everything breaks in implementation.
We're messy. Exactly. We're messy. And so that's why my thought is let's go like try to attack it as soon as possible. Let's just break it right now other than wait till later. But I'm more of an engineer, Chris. I'm more of a you know
So why don't we go break the economy right now instead of wait till later?
because that wouldn't be beneficial. Because we don't want to break it. Break it means bad stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, and even in your system scenario, if you break a system, bad things can happen.
Yeah, absolutely, actually. But what I'm doing though is the assumption is that I'm not stating is the fact that I'm assuming breaking it sooner is going to be less pain than breaking it later.
Okay.
That's an
Unlike
stated
where we are in
assumption.
the economy now, where we have some slim hope that might be able to grow our way out, or somehow have the economy catch up with the debt somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though no one can see how it can be done, everyone hopes it can be done.
Hopefully somehow it could be. But there's no. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not an economist, so I don't know. I just know the most fundamental stuff about money. And my most fundamental stuff is you should be spending less than you're bringing in, right? That's when you start
Spend
going
less
the
than you
opposite.
bring in, get things that don't get devalued as fast as the system is, and I think the third thing that you need to worry about is trying to get away from the government being able to control it,
Yeah, pretty much.
which
Yeah.
is that's the tough one, because we're all tied to fiat currency in some way or another.
Yeah,
I do
exactly.
think I poo-pooed Bitcoin years ago, and I'm now looking at it. I think the one thing it's got is its independence from government.
Yeah, right. It's interesting. Yeah, I sold it way back when. I wish I wouldn't have. I'd be making a lot of money right now. What's it up
Yeah,
to,
I
like
mean,
120 or some crazy amount like that?
I think it'll continue to go up
Yeah.
for a while simply because of the of the worry about. I mean, and as the debt worry goes up, and that and gold, right? Gold purchases are up for this year massively too,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Gold's
Because
going up.
they're a store of wealth that you're you know it's got value regardless, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
right, right. Well,
your
gold does. Yeah.
your stock account you're more worried about because
Ah.
at some point it's like, oh, it ain't worth anything anymore because no one's buying anything anymore, right?
Yeah, you
If
gotta.
everything falls apart and the economy just stops buying stuff.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. I mean, people are always going to be doing some form of trade, right? I mean, we may go back to bartering or something,
Yeah,
but
you think your stocks in a company are going to be worth anything when you're trying to get food for the day, food for the week?
depends on how bad it gets. I don't know. Probably they're not going to go to zero because even the worst crashes we've had, I mean, what was the market down, what, 30% or 40% or something? It didn't go to zero.
I'm just thinking when you've got 30-40% unemployment and there's food lines out the door and you know the only thing the only way to bring the government to things out is to have government all the government spending plans they did during the Great Depression, right? To get us out of that. Many people actually say that actually made the depression go longer. But the government doesn't have the money to what would cause the problem is the fact that the government produced too much money, and
Yeah.
so they're not going to have that way to spend their way out anymore because
Yeah, right.
that's what caused the problem in the first place,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so
What's
that's that I think is that's the doomsday scenario that everyone fears. It may never come to pass. In fact, I hope it never comes to
I
pass.
hope not either,
But
actually.
given the cycle of how economies and countries work, we're towards the end of what would be considered the
It's
American cycle.
possible. But still, Chris, whenever that happens, whenever something goes down, when one door closes, another door opens up. So you've got to constantly be training, constantly be upping your skill set, and you got to make yourself more valuable.
So this is the distinction of having two viewpoints, right? We're talking about the meta viewpoint of what's going on with society and how it's going to hurt and blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
But on the flip side is you harp on this a lot is the individual needs to make sure that they are in the best position they can be in whatever
Correct.
situation it
Yes.
is. So does
Yep.
that mean making as much money as you can in the next 3 to 4 years? That's probably one thing that could help, right?
One thing.
What
Yeah.
else could it be? Becoming an expert in AI to the point where you're
Yeah.
usable no matter what, right?
Yeah.
No matter what else happens to in the world, you still have skills that are valuable or in
Yeah.
some way.
Right.
And so whether dollars still exist in 20 years, I don't know if we're going to if we're going to get rid of money because AI is going to make the world such a beautiful place. You still have a store of value in your abilities that you will get something out of that.
Yeah. You ability and your abilities. You got to make sure you're staying healthy, making sure you're developing good relationships, so that
But
you can.
you're going to have AI friends and AI girlfriends, and you're going to have, nanobots that are going to fix every part of your body, and you're going to have all the most tasty food and drugs you're ever going to want because it's all going to be made cheap and free.
Not if the power goes out.
We'll have unlimited power because I don't know how we're going to have unlimited power, right? We're going to have unlimited power, and yeah.
I mean, we see it all the time.
We're
Looking.
going to build an atomic power plant on the moon, right?
Well, maybe, but it's not there right now. Actually, I mean, the power does go out. I mean, we've seen that in big storms in Texas, around the
So,
country. I
so
mean,
what was the logic of building the atomic power plant on the moon? Or is it because we're going to build people up there or put people up there? Or is it because we're going to beam it back down?
I don't know, Chris. I didn't even know about building the atomic thing on the
Oh,
moon.
so
I don't
I
know.
don't know how much of it is like a joke or in the way the media presented it, but apparently
Yeah.
someone approved going ahead and moving forward with building a power plant on the moon. That
Oh,
I'm maybe it's just an exploratory thing, which would make sense to me
could
because the
be.
first thing you do is, hey, like, can we talk about this? Oh yeah, go ahead and look at it.
Yeah.
In
Right.
which case, and then probably someone in the media found out about it and made fun of it. Is the way I kind of view
Yeah.
it. But
Hmm.
nonetheless, it's like, oh yeah, let's build a nuclear power plant on the moon, and then we'll get that old TV show, Space 1999,
Yeah.
where the moon blew up and a chunk of the moon got pushed out, and then the whole rest of the moon got pushed through space, and it was continuously moving through space.
Oh, I don't
You
know.
don't remember that show? It's
No.
before it was before I was born, but I think you were alive at the time.
Yeah. I don't know.
Late 60s, I think.
I don't remember it exactly. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It
I
had
don't
some
know,
of the
Chris.
same cast that was on the original Mission Impossible team.
Oh, well, there you go. I don't know. Hey, I think I want to do a hard stop today in a few minutes, Chris, because I got
All
other
right.
stuff going on. But can we talk about one more thing?
Sure.
It's like I really don't even want to bring it up, actually, because I have zero interest in it. But I have a tiny bit of interest in it.
Okay.
So I've been watching the news a tiny bit, which I told myself I wouldn't do, but only a few minutes here, a few minutes there. And apparently there's some big drama on this redistricting thing or something. So could
Yes.
you just, I don't want to go into the politics of it. I just want to go like, what is, I don't even understand what it is. And why would somebody want to do that?
Okay. So, you know how every state breaks up their state territory where a certain number of people live in it, and then they vote and they get a representative in Congress,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And I think there's a certain number of people you need to get to qualify to get a
Okay.
member of Congress. But over time, more people move into the area. You could have more than enough people in one area. So, like, let's say you need 500,000, you have 800,000 people living in that area.
Gotcha.
So what you can do is you can then redraw the lines back to 500,000 and take those 300,000 and combine it with 200,000 somewhere else and get an extra seat in Congress,
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
right?
I see.
And so that's the philosophy. Now,
Okay.
gerrymandering is drawing those lines so you get a certain makeup of Republicans or Democrats based upon what your state wants,
Okay. I see. Okay. I
right?
see.
So
Okay.
basically, and you can argue why Texas is doing this. I think the most obvious thing is they want more representatives in Congress that are Republicans.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
have enough population that they could redraw those things and get 5 more Republican seats out of it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's
Right?
all I need to know. Yeah.
And so basically, yeah, and so California said, well, if you're going to do that, we can do the same thing on the other direction.
I know.
We'll make 5 new Democrat ones, right?
Okay. Okay.
And so the funny thing is, in California, we actually have a rule around gerrymandering. We have a law. And so the people in Texas are pissed off that California, or the people who are designing this in Texas, are pissed off that California says they're going to do this and go
Yeah.
the other direction and basically counteract all their work.
Yeah. I
And so
gotcha.
they're saying, California has a law not to do this. It's illegal to do it there. It's totally different than what we're doing here. And I'm like, it's a law. But if you go and tell the Californians, hey, we want to do this to stop Trump from getting control, I bet you California would agree to that. I mean, generally
Okay.
speaking, California's left. So,
I got it. Okay.
yeah, no, so it's fun. I'm laughing all over the place because to me, there should be a national law against gerrymandering, in my opinion. But hey, that's the way it
Yeah,
is.
I don't want to get into politics. I just want to understand. So it's just a tactic to gain more power, basically.
It's a tactic, yeah, based upon the rules, and I wouldn't be surprised, if more states could probably do this.
Okay.
Right? They
yeah,
probably
I gotcha.
population has moved around over the years. It's grown in some areas over the years.
Yeah.
You could, they could probably do this every 4, 5, 10 years and actually keep up in the number of people in Congress.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Yeah, but because it's tied to population, right? To the house.
Population, and then the way
Yeah.
you draw the lines ties if it goes left or right.
I got you. Okay, so they're going to, of course, optimize it to whatever outcome you want, actually.
Yeah, so we'll draw the lines so we get all the Republican areas are 500,000, just enough to qualify.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll
of
group
course.
all the Democrats together where there are like 1 million in one place, so they'll
Of course.
lose, right?
course.
And vice versa. I mean, it's
Of
not.
course.
Yeah.
No,
So
of course. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
no.
the game. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't understand tactically. Like,
And if you ever see the lines, they're like it's called gerrymandering because it was a guy, someone named Jerry, and they did it in New Jersey, New York, or somewhere, and it looked like a salamander, and so
Oh
that's
my
where
gosh,
the
okay. So
gerrymandering. And so
I
what ends
see.
up happening is now, the weird shapes. It's like one long corridor that goes across the state. I mean, what the hell is that breakdown?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So,
So
yeah.
there we go. Okay. I figured. Yeah. Exactly. It's a.
No,
It's always some
I love it
version of.
because I love
yeah.
it because it shows human nature. Is why I
It
love
shows
it. I
human
hate it
nature.
because it shows human nature too.
Yeah. Exactly. It's some version of follow the money. In fact, maybe better than money would be follow the power. Would probably be a more.
Yeah, because even money's
abstract
about
view.
power.
Yeah. It's all about power. That's ultimately it's about power, right?
Yeah.
I get to control what you do. Some version of that.
Yeah, but this is okay because AI will control us soon, so we're fine.
That's funny. All right.
All right. Anything else we should cover? So we still need to get guests.
Yeah, let's get some.
So we should
guests.
reach out to Huracan, our Toastmaster president.
Yeah, I
to
think
see
it'd be
what he-
interesting to hear what he has to say. That'd be
Yeah,
so
his
cool.
talk about emotions today was fun, and
Yeah.
and we like to talk about emotions and how you
Yeah.
control them or how you get mastery over them.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
All right. So today's a little shorter than normal. All right.
That's okay. That's okay. I got
What a
work to
concept.
do, Chris.
And your internet's better today than it was
Yeah,
last
it's better.
week.
I got Starlink installed. I'm not using it. I still want to test it a little bit before this, but it's still not perfect.
Okay, so as we forget to say throughout the show, comment, subscribe. Tell us all how wonderful we are and how you love hearing us talk and who we should have as a guest if there's someone we should reach out to. And if we have enough clout, we'll try to get them. Otherwise, you can be a guest or whatever.
Yeah, come on the show. Yeah, exactly.
If there's a particular bent you want us to discuss also, or if you want us, hey, you know what? You could give us something to argue and tell us which side to argue.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So Scott will take one side, I'll take the other side. And
exactly.
You can make him take the side he hates and it'll be great.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, make the dude argue the stuff he doesn't want to argue. Yeah,
no, that's the best part. That really is the exercise.
Exactly.
That's when you're really forcing your mind to expand.
Yeah, that is exactly right.
So anyway, all right, everyone. Thank you much. I'm gonna hit the stop button here. There it is.